Go live. Getting the notes. Corley Moore, Firehouse Vigilance, weekly scrap number 62. Special guest tonight is Mike Heeney. Served in the United States Marines. His dad served 30 years on the Philadelphia Fire Department. He now carries on that tradition on the Austin Fire Department for the last 15 years. He teaches classes in truck, engine, rescue operations with a special love for search, ventilation, and forcible entry. We're going to have some good conversations. It's going to be a good scrap. So with all of that being said, it's my pleasure to have you, Mike Heeney, on as the guest on Weekly Scrap number 62. Welcome, sir.
Thanks for having me, Corey. We met, a month and a half ago?
Roughly.
And I really enjoyed hanging out with you guys. I went to Oklahoma City. It had been a long time because of COVID to get out on the teaching tour again. And it was such a breath of fresh air to go up there and hang out with you guys. If you don't mind, I'd like to do a quick shout out. I'd like to dedicate this tonight to we lost a brother a couple months ago, Corbin Hunt. And one of his sayings, he had many, many sayings, was let's do that, because it was just always about the bros. And one thing to remember tonight for everybody is you can't be a bro without making bro moves. And that's what Corbin always lived by. So just a little quick shout out to him. Awesome. But really, thanks for having me, man.
No, absolutely. And good shout out, brother. Good shout out. Let's do that. Good. To everyone watching live, if you have questions for Mike or myself, please don't hesitate to put them in the comments and hit us up so I can throw them at Mike and catch him off guard, and we can see if we can surprise him. And then we'll go from there. Did I miss anything in the intro? Anything you want to add?
No, sir. Everything's good with that.
Awesome. We're already getting comments. So here we go.
I know my boys are going to make fun of me tonight because we talked a little bit at the Firehouse. So there should be some good ones in there. Maybe talking about my nose. I'm Italian, so I got that schnoz.
Gotcha.
You know, I'm half Irish, half Italian. Stuff like that. But we'll have fun. I like poking the bear.
There you go. Well, they're coming at you right now. I'll read them to you in a second. I'm going to start off, as always, lately. I mean, all this year, it's been the same question to lead off the show. How has the craziness of 2020 been treating you? How has it affected your fire service and just teaching in general for you?
I think for me, it's actually been good because it's kind of slowed things down a little bit. I mean, COVID's not a good thing, obviously. That'd be a ridiculous statement to say. And the scare, I know it's real. We just got to be careful, but we got to do our job, and we got to stop, focusing on it all the stinking time, because it is getting old. It takes away from training, and training is what makes us better. And it's what we're still getting called to these calls. We're still, we got to be on our game. So, it's just what the good part of it is. I've spent more time with my family and my wife. And I've stacked up a lot of vacation because I use a lot of vacation training
and teaching. Oh, I believe it.
Yeah.
No, and it's like you said, nothing about it is good, but there has been benefits for different things. Like the scrap, I honestly think if it would have been a normal training year, a lot of the names would not be available to come on. You probably would be out teaching instead of being on the scrap right now. So some things
ain't that important.
But some things have unintended consequences. Like you said, nothing good is of it, but yes. So I'm going to kick right into this. I'm going to read a few things to you right off the mat. FSU Mike with 3 fists from Kyle Thon. Luis Manuel Corona said, let's do that. And then someone named Allison Marohini said, my husband is hot. So she might be biased. I'm not sure.
We've been married 19 years, so the only reason I work out is to keep up with her. She's a stunner.
Awesome.
Everybody knows my wife. She's a tough cookie.
You out kicked
your coverage?
My
balls a lot. Oh yeah.
All right, fair enough. Fire by Trade Brian Brush chiming in said, "My brother, be good. Heeney, hope to be seeing you again soon. And yeah, he owes you a coat."
I do. That's a funny story. We might get to it.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see if we get bored.
Okay.
I don't know what's going to happen tonight.
There's no telling. So that's where we're at right now. We got a few shout outs. I got one request here to have you pronounce water.
Yeah, people not from Philadelphia, they don't know how to say it, but you say it's water. W-U, what a little hyphen thing that the people use. D-D-E-R. That's how you spell it.
Water.
And I have some of that too, because I'm a little keeping that mason jar also, because we do that down in Texas.
We're in Texas. Okay, so representing Philly with the water in the mason jar from Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Am I close enough? All right, here we go. Is it safe to say that you have a passion for search?
It is safe to say that. Where did the passion grow? That's the biggest thing. The passion grew from sucking at something. And one thing I learned in the Marine Corps, first thing I did in the Marine Corps, I was a kid from Philly drinking 40s on the corner. Next minute, I'm flying to Paris Island. I get there, and I'm like, why didn't they tell me I had to do pull-ups? I was like, I could do like 3 pull-ups. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Why didn't they tell me about this? So I killed myself doing pull-ups, and now I crush pull-ups. So same thing with search. First of all, the way we teach it in academies is ridiculous. And I think we can all agree. I mean, I was teaching this Saturday, and still people are, hand on the boot, in a line, ducks in a row. It's ridiculous. It's insanity. And when's it going to change? That has to change for us to push the fire service to a different mark on that. I already forgot exactly what your first question was.
Just a passion for search, man. You're preaching. I'm just listening. Yeah. I'm just enjoying.
So we have a plan of attack for everything we do. And search, right? You can search videos on ventilation, everything else. Go to YouTube, type in search, primary search. No one wants to be on that video because you look goofy, you look dumb, right? And through failures, zombies searching through houses. Right. I'm walking around like this. I don't know where I'm going. I got zero ventilation and smoke's down on the floor, and I'm banging into everything. And I didn't do a good 360. I had no clue what part of the house I'm in. I'm doing absolutely nothing for the people we're serving. So we as a crew, and this is across the board at 14s where I work, at 18s where I worked, 8s where I worked, we started just honing this skill and saying, this is going to be our normal. When you have a normal, you can push it to different size houses and everything else. But if you don't start with a normal and how you're going to push through a house, then you're going to be lost in houses and you're going to be searching for firefighters. When you start searching for firefighters, you're not searching for victims. You're just not functioning well on the fire ground. And again, I'm preaching through failures and finding failures and then just fixing them is the way you do business.
No.
I mean, is that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because one of the very first conversations we had was when I said, we were talking about bringing you on the scrap to talk about search. And I said, well, man, here's the thing is I'm no expert in search. I'm no search guru whatsoever. And one of the things you said is there's no one that's a search expert hardly at all. And that's one of those things you embraced and said, I'm going to start learning.
Yeah, experts it's easy to say you're an expert in something. And then you get your shit pushed in at a fire, and you're like, I guess I'm not that much of an expert again. Right. So a lot of people that call themselves experts, I brush that off, and it gets a little old, like beating your chest. And that, first, let's get into that real quick. Like aggressive firefighter, guys telling me all the time they're aggressive, they're this, they're that. I don't refer to myself as an aggressive firefighter. And that's because, I grew up in the Marine Corps. Have you ever heard the term aggressive Marine?
It's pretty much a default, I believe.
No, it's either you're a Marine or you're not. Right. And that's what I put out to guys like, you're okay, go ahead and tell me you're aggressive or you're safety minded. I mean, I'm a firefighter. I'm a fireman, and I'm going to go and do what I got to do. And I just prescribed to that. And the guys that work around us, we just prescribe to that, and we go, and it hurts feelings sometimes. I hurt feelings on a regular basis. I say I'm sorry all the time because I say stupid stuff in front of my wife all the time. So I'm just used to it, and I'm pretty good at it. So I just say I'm sorry, bat my eyes a little bit, and hope for the best. You know what I mean?
Hope for the best. I like it. I like it a lot. Philly is watching you back home, cuz, from Newsy, Niffy, Rivas. Your cousin Jenny. Oh, love your cousin Jenny. Some talk about what is in the koozie. Allison says it's an IPA because you don't drink Modelo. Apparently, Modelo is for those who like taste.
The koozie is Liberty Hill Air Conditioning, and that's or Liberty Air. That's my son's. He works for an HVAC company, so I'm giving them a little love. And then I got electric jellyfish. I swore to myself that I would never spend the $18 for a 4-pack of beer, but I was like, oh, I'll try some jellyfish, and it's some pretty good stuff from Pint House Pizza here in Austin, Texas.
Nice. Jellyfish.
I don't live in Austin, though. I live in Liberty Hill, Texas, just outside, probably about 40 minutes.
Nice. I want to ask you a question is, what do you say to people who say, especially talking about search, we're just going to get it done on the day of. We don't need to practice that. It's just searching ability. It's just search.
Man, it's probably the least practiced skill out there, and it is the number one truck skill. If you can't search a building, you're going to fail. You're going to get guys lost. So if I could just, for a second, just tell people that there's ways you can practice search. If you have an acquired structure, you have to do non-destructive training and then do destructive training. Everyone wants to go in and start bashing walls, smashing everything. No, you set up searches. When we set up searches, we do full visibility. To be an expert at something, you got to have 10,000 reps, right? If you don't do rep 1 correctly, then you're never going to get started in that direction. So, everybody's been that cadet where they spin you around and, make you wag your tail 3 times, and then you're already disoriented and you're supposed to start an oriented search. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Give them full visibility, show them how to functionally move through a structure, and have your best guy show them, and then let them emulate that. Let them work through that, and then switch positions, right? And have them all go through it. Then add smoke. Then add some intensity to it. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. It's that crawl, walk, run, sprint.
Yep.
Like it.
But you got to get that first rep. You got to get. I mean, we do a force entry. We have a game plan for vent. We roll 2, dice 1. That's what we do on a residential house. We force doors. We have commands for forcible entry. For search, we're like, okay, let's just make it happen. Okay, you're probably going to fail, and you're going to hit a benchmark. You're going to tell command you did primary search. But does that mean you actually searched the whole house? Does it mean that you functionally searched the whole house and did the best for the victims that day?
Sure. No, that's the big question, because like you said, the benchmark all clear on the primary search, and how much of it is just trying to reach that benchmark as opposed to being functionally effective. Such a great question. So let's start outside. Start with the 360, because one of the pictures you sent me, the chalk talk you sent me, I took a lot of notes off of it trying to come up with questions to throw at you. And you had it written on there. It says 360, it's more than just a circle. So what do you mean by that, and kind of elaborate?
Yeah, so I promoted the driver now, but I rode the OB, and the firefighter rank is a very important rank. And everything you're going to do when you start riding up in the seats is going to be based off the knowledge base you've got from the rear, right? So when I started riding the OV position on the rescue, I was told, by my captain, Matt Rush at the time, he said, you got to give me something when you get back around. And it stuck with me. So when I go to the backside of a house, I would spend at least 10 seconds, which seems like a very short amount of time, but it feels like an eternity on the fire ground, right? So I'm assessing the roof, right? And we'll talk about later what we're assessing on the roof. I'm assessing the windows. I'm assessing the back door, forcing the back door, doing my 9-foot sweep. I'm 6 foot tall. I got a 3-foot wingspan. That's a 9-foot sweep inside the door. For you short people, it might be like 8.5. It's okay. If you miss a victim, you missed the victim. But what I would see when I was back there is officers, again, hitting a benchmark. They're running around the house with knife hands, right? Just to get back around for the hose deployment and to enter the house. They're not taking in the layout of the house to make them more effectively push through the house. And that's just what I was kind of getting at by that. The 360 is important. If I see gas, I'll hit it. I understand all that, and I'll do that. But it's more for, what does the house look like? And it got to the point where we were functioning at a pretty high level as a crew, that when I get back around, we would have a conversation as a crew right in the door. It would take 3 or 4 seconds. Bedrooms on the left, kitchen on the right, living room in the front. You got, yeah.
Nice.
And if someone said, no, the bedrooms are on the left, then we would recheck it. But it just didn't. You know, we were orienting ourselves. So when we go in, and as we go searching through a house, we talk about, I'll grab the guys sometimes, because now I've sent them into 3 rooms, right? I'll grab the guys, be like, hey, where's Alpha? And they'll point, right? And if I'm like, listen to the engine, or I'll grab their arm and I'll shove it towards out, like Alpha's over there. And I'm talking about in bad conditions, like, you know, zero vision. When you practice, right? We're not practicing for an attic fire where you have full visibility. We're
walking
practicing
in, right,
for
right.
one week. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Does that kind of answer that question?
No, absolutely. I love it. There's so much that is given up on the 360. When you say that, it's more than just a circle. It lets you. I want to talk about OV for a second, because a lot of people don't even know what the OV position was. I'd never even heard of it prior to talking to Scott Thompson and I've been in the fire service for 23 years. So different cultures have different things, but the outside vent man. So talk about that for just a second for those who don't know.
Yeah, and like you're saying, like that's not even across the board in my department. It's kind of the crew to crew. It's the opposite of the captains for us. It's the guy who does the 360 around the back, and they'll meet up with the captain and they come up with the overall picture of the scene. He can also, he's searching in the rear. He's probably your senior guy on the truck or the rescue for us. And the other position on the back is the irons guy. So that irons guy will go to the front door. He'll make sure it's forced, make sure everything's going well there. I'm driving, so it's going to take me a second to get up there because I got to finish up getting dressed. Boom, I'm pretty good at it, pretty fast now. And then we masking up and we go in.
So are you a 3-man truck?
We're a 4.
A 4,
we
okay.
run 4-man
so
staff.
I missed one, okay.
Unless COVID keeps messing with it. We'll see what happens.
Right. Well, who knows where that's going.
We're still doing well. We're still at 4-person staff and across the board.
So Luis Manuel Corona said shit pipes, and I think he's referring to some vent pipes on the roof that you were looking at that you were talking about. So you want to touch on that at all, or you want to come back to it later?
Yeah, it's up to you. We can talk about it now. It's part of the 360 though. When I'm standing in the back, right, we all assess windows, doors, all this stuff. But one of the things we really harp on is the vent pipes coming out of the roof line. So you have your shit pipes. I call them shit pipes so you remember it, but they're just vents for any plumbing. Any plumbing has to be vented out of the roof. Sometimes in older houses, right, they're vented to the sides, but for the most part, what you guys are going to deal with, they're vented straight up through the roof. Mm-hmm. So it paints a picture, a story for us of what that house really looks like on the inside. Windows can kind of be deceiving. So when I look at a house, say especially in 18th territory, just north of us, you'll see shit pipes on the front of the house, then no shit pipes, then shit pipes on the front of the house, then no shit pipes, then shit pipes on the front of the house, no shit pipes, all the way down the street. So what do? The builder was being creative.
Flip the floor plan?
He just flipped the floor plan all the way down the street. So we're pulling up to the house, and this is what I'm talking about. This is like when you've been in the area for a long time, right? This is the stuff you're doing. You're rolling to these areas. You're talking about the types of houses that are in these areas. Then you're pulling up, and you go, hey, shit pipe. You see the shit pipes in the front. You go, kitchen in the front, living room in the rear, bedrooms on the right. I mean, we're talking about this as we're walking up. You talk about that making you successful when you get there. It's a process, but it's beat in on every medical call. We're making medical calls, and guys just zombie through medical calls instead of making it a fire call.
Right on.
Right. So you come outside and we're just talking about the house, and you make 16 medical calls that day, and you didn't make any fire, but at least at 2 of them you talked about, like you make an apartment call and a house call, and you're talking about the differences in the 2 and how things are laid out. Guys feel like they're a part of the job.
No, 100%. And
you know what I mean?
Now, is that something you guys discovered on how do I want to ask this question? Because like you said, you guys are doing that on every medical call, or trying to, I'm sure. But how did you make that a part of your culture to where it became like Second Nation to be shouting that stuff out as you're coming up on the call or pointing it out or, hey, look at that. There's shit pipes on the front on this one, you know?
Man, that's the FSU. That's fuck shit up. It is what it is. And if the Chiefs ask, it's Fireground Safety United. And if they keep harping on me, it's my late grandfather's initials. It's, you know, we used to go to fires and say, fuck shit up. And then it just started clicking. Like, we had just a really good group of guys. Some people think I went to Florida State University.
I wondered.
Put it on the side of our hats.
It was popping up here in chat, and I wondered what it was about. I was like, you must be a Seminole. I don't know.
No. I went to Penn State and a couple other colleges for a couple weekends way before I met my wife. It was pretty fun, but
those are different stories, different podcasts.
Different story, different podcasts. But there's a lot of pride in the way we do business at our station. My captain owns my captain JR now, he told the fire chief one day, he said, we pride ourselves in our work, and the only tool that this crew can't run is the remote control.
Nice. I love that, man. That's a great mentality. I
guess that's how it happens. You know, that's just how it happens, right? Like like I said, it's not every medical call. I'm just saying, like 1 or 2 a day, we're just talking about, or something, a one-off, and it's important.
Just everybody, just being on the lookout for something that's out of the ordinary and pointing it out and having a discussion, man. That's so much better than, like you said, zombieing through. Just, It's a difficulty breathing. Let's get them loaded up and on the way to the hospital. Okay, let's get back to the station. So that's an awesome priority to have, man. It really is, and it's special. So hopefully, just people hearing that can say, "Hey, let's get some FSU going at our department."
Oh yeah, it brings up the pride, man. You gotta have that station pride.
Nick Schroeder has come in and said 360 on house fire versus apartment. So I had that question later in the thing, but I'm gonna throw it at you.
So Nick works with us also. So I asked my guys, throw me some softballs when I start going down rabbit holes. I'm a big time rabbit hole guy. Scott will tell you, all these guys. Might
have lost you.
Again.
Hold up, if you can hear me. Are you there? Is it me?
Let me see. I can't tell what mine.
Nope, you're back now.
All right, we good?
I think so. I was getting ready to ask people if it was me or you. So, but yep, you're back. Start back over because I lost you on right when you started speaking on apartment versus house. So go ahead.
All right, and I can move to a different room if it starts messing up.
It's doing great except for that one lockup. That was just a bathroom break for the viewers.
Yeah. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
Apartment fire versus house fire. 360 on those.
So 360 on a house is simple, right? So we tend to do it. And literally, hey, again, I've messed up. I watched the helmet cam video myself at a fire. We had a guy trying to reach in, and he smashed the glass out. He's standing, he's bleeding. And I didn't do a 360, and I told myself I didn't have the time. It's bullcrap. When I went back and watched it, by the time they pulled the hose, I'm talking about a good company. I was traveling that day, but I had the 20 seconds it takes or whatever to do that with plenty of time to make it happen. They didn't do it. So just we do a really good job doing it as a department on house fires. Now on apartment fires, right? If you can't get around the whole apartment, think about the adjacent apartments. We can go through the adjacent apartment, especially if it's through and through. We can get from the front to the back of the apartment and a neighboring apartment, go through to the back, take a look at it, right? It's really important to see the back side of an apartment because you can have balconies burning. It can be running the floor spaces, whatever else.
So you're talking like the breezeway is going through and through is what you're talking about?
Not even the breezeway, like literally the apartment right next door. Just take the apartment door or knock on it if you want to be a gentleman, and then walk through their apartment, right, and go to the back and then look up, because that's going to be way faster
around
than going around. And we have a ton of mid rises going in. Mm-hmm. Anybody tells you they're a mid rise expert, just run the other way, because we're figuring them things out. But we're literally, how are we getting ladders in there? What are we, what are we doing for that? And the last thing on that is strip malls, right? Again, strip malls. Think about strip malls, right? You want your guys going all the way around a strip mall? No. Pull the locks on the adjoining occupancies, right? And then get to the back. And one other thing we do on strip malls is we let the ladders fly on one end of the strip mall on the front side, like where your occupancy is. If the fire's in this
May have to have you relocate because we're losing you again.
Side, and then on the Charlie side, we're gonna do. You there?
Are you there?
Yeah.
There was a lot of fast forwarded hand motions, but we lost you for a second. I may have to have you relocate because you keep freezing. I'm sorry.
What'd you say?
They want to shut down Uncle Mike. They're all listening.
Are you back?
You there?
Are you there? Okay, you're looking good right now, so we can keep going.
Yeah, so we're freezing again. Are you freezing there?
Mm-hmm.
You can see me?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's you. My wife says you can see me.
Good.
Oh, my dad's calling me. He's screwing up my whole thing. I can't even see the red button.
This is the fun part of live.
Yeah. So all I was saying was on the last thing, right? When you go to a roof, you can also have the blinders going. You can't see anymore, right? So before you go to a roof, you're going to ladder it. Give yourself a favor. Ladder the front left side and the back. Now my mom's calling me. And the back on the opposite side of the occupancy. So you've
bracketed.
You've marked. Thank you. Bracketed the occupancy. So when you go up there, you're like, okay, I'm good. And I know that sounds stupid, but you can get in the wrong spot real easily on a.
No, absolutely, like man, absolutely. What was I gonna? We got multiple stuff to throw at you here. Mike Heeney. I don't know if it's a different. Obviously, must be. Says, who's your favorite uncle?
Yeah. So real quick.
All right, go ahead.
Just a shout out to that's my Uncle Mike. He's been real sick. He's fighting cancer right now, and he's a strong dude. He's only 58. I think I said that right. I always mess it up. But we always say, who's the real Mike Heeney? My son's Michael Heeney Jr. He's Michael Kevin. I'm Michael Joseph, but definitely a mentor of mine in my life. Got me fighting at an early age. Taught me a lot about throwing hands, and awesome. He's an amazing guy. I'm going to go see him next week, and I love him to death.
I will definitely say a prayer for Mike in his battle, and it's awesome you say, like you said, he's a strong dude. Tony Nunez says, I don't remember who mentioned it, so bad on me, but something that always stuck to me for apartment buildings or commercial was walk the rim, get on the roof if possible, and do a 360. What do you think?
Man, you broke up. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. I don't know if it's me or...
Am I breaking up too?
I don't remember who mentioned it, so bad on me.
Just that question.
Something that always stuck to me for apartment buildings or commercials was walk the rim, get on the roof if possible, and do a 360. Did I get you there or not?
Yeah. No, I got you.
Okay.
And the roof is definitely another way to do a 360. If I'm understanding what he's talking about, but I'm going to be faster on the ground. I'm going to stay on the ground until I'm ready. Oh, she's doing. Oh, I pooped today. She got me another koozie. So, I'm going to stay ground level to take in as much information from the ground before I go up. I'm not going to stay outside for too long, but while I'm outside, I'm not yard breathing. I'm taking in information that's going to make me faster and more effective on the inside. So that's just my 2 cents on that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And then I've got a lot of stuff here to throw at you, which Bill Heeney said, who is your godfather? And Newsy said, get him Uncle Mike, get him Uncle Bill. And then a request to make sure I read the Mike Heeney, Bill Heeney uncle comment. So there was a lot of requests for that, so I had to get it in there on you. Fair? Then a lot of people told you.
I guess my family back home in Philly is really liking this.
They're liking it. So you're catching a lot of flack. A lot of them told you to get rid of Sprint or your Cricket service, and Sprint sucks. Guys, I really don't know if it's not my service, so I will apologize for that. But all in all, enjoy the show, and we'll keep going with this and keep throwing stuff at him. So keep on sending your questions, even if I have to read them. Right. Even if I have to read them 3 or 4 times, we'll get to them. Now, I want to get inside your head.
Yeah.
It might be a scary thing to do, but what are your priorities, or basically your hierarchy of decision making, as you size up for search? And I know that's a really, really broad question. It's hard to just narrow and drill down on it. But like on a bread and butter fire, what's kind of your standard that you deviate from?
Yeah, my go-to.
That's it.
All right. So priorities are priorities again with COVID. They're kind of going out the window, right? Because people use time of day. They use all these things, and it's changed. The game's changed. More people are working from home. People are home at different times. And you got to take that into consideration. And in a city like mine in Austin, there's a lot of people living in weird places. We did a 360 on a house and had an air conditioning unit in the gable vent. We went on venting that roof, and there was a bed in the attic space. And I'm not telling you to search an attic space. I mean, people, they want to be that dumb. Sometimes it is their day, right? But, I mean,
I know what you mean.
But prioritizing the search has changed. And when we use absolutes, like at nighttime, we start at the bedroom, here and there, everywhere. We just got to look at a house and see what screams at us. Now, I have a couple absolutes, and one of them is wheelchair ramps. If you have a wheelchair ramp, right, at the front door, then you need to attack that front door. If your wheelchair ramp is at the side door because there's a carport and it leads to the side door, then that's where you attack, because people don't just wheel themselves. They're going to go to that place. They know that there's a ramp there to get out.
Nice.
So they have to go over there. You got to attack the knowns. And sometimes they're inconspicuous. You have to kind of look for these things, but they're really, 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 really important.
Nice.
Prioritizing the search, though, is just, it is what it is. It's the functional fire ground, right? You have to, in the first 2 minutes, affect when you get there, and that's how we do it. We functionally go through things.
Nice. Ask Mike. So Russell Ramirez has thrown this question at you, which is, ask Mike to comment on survivability profiling.
Yeah, so survivability profiling kind of goes out the window to me. Everybody's like, oh, what are you saying? I mean, we've made rescues. We had a rescue last year with Ladder 3. They did a fantastic job. The guy had fire out the front door and the only exit window he had in his place. And when we walked up, he was screaming and banging on the walls. And I mean, my hair's standing up on the back of my head, but they ran upstairs. They knocked the fire down on the door, pulled him out, and he lived. So we bring the tools to make the area survivable. We need to remember that. You have all the tools, the ventilation tools, the water, everything to make that survivable. So make it survivable. But how we make people live, and this is where we win as a station, is we do victim profiling. All right. So victim profiling is different. I go to an apartment complex, and it's going to be hard to envision, but I have balconies, right? So I have 4 doors to that balcony, and there's a center entryway for all those apartments, right? Okay. We're all kind of envisioning it's about 8 foot deep, and there's 2 doors on the bottom, 2 doors on the top. People on the top floor, fires on the first floor, people on the top floor, they open the door to their apartment and they see smoke. They shut the door, right?
Right.
Look, remember, they have balconies, so where are they going?
Right.
That's that easy rescue where you throw the ladder up and they come down the balcony, right? And it's not even really rescue. It's an evacuation, right?
Sure.
Whatever you want to call it. I'm not boasting our numbers on this stuff. But where are the victims going? Well, now that same apartment complex doesn't have balconies. It has windows. All right, that ups my game, right? I prioritize, okay, they're in that apartment somewhere. They couldn't have gotten out. There's smoke in the entryway, so they couldn't have gotten out. Have to get up there. So where do you prioritize? I look at the fire compartment first, right? Past that, then it's up to you. You can go right next door and hit that one. Well, maybe that's not the worst smoke. Maybe the worst smoke is upstairs. Send the guys upstairs. There's no wrong answer, but the priority your first manner. If you don't have a plan for that, you're going to lose.
Right on. No, absolutely. A couple more to throw at you here. Garrett Toes, who's become, honestly, a big question asker each week, so here he's throwing this at you. He says, on a fire with only 2 3-man engine companies. So you got 2 3-man engine companies, and I know it's hard to tactics and staffing is local, so it's hard to do that.
You broke up, man.
Sorry, man. I apologize. He says,
You're right.
How would you prioritize and assign the hose line search and outside vent if you had 2 3-man engine companies? Kind of a what-if scenario for you.
Oh, that's great. You had two 3-man. I wish we just sent 2 3-man engine companies to fires. It'd be great. We have to deal with all those people sucking up all the oxygen inside. I would have one crew do the OV and truck stuff, and one crew do the prioritize getting a hydrant or a fire attack being number 1, right? And if you had 2 engine companies, he said 2 engine companies, correct?
Yes, 2 engine companies, 3-man apiece.
Yeah, so the first engine, like Chief Reinhardt said last week, man, we abide by the fast water. Get that water to the scene. I mean, we run 500, 600 gallon engines, and I mean, you'd be surprised how much fire you can put out with 600 gallons.
Right on.
So you're going to be successful. Drop one guy from that second engine, and those 2 engine operators get that hydrant supply going. 2 guys for search, right? And 2 guys for fire attack. And that fire attack engine can still search down that hose line. It's a lost art, right? When I'm in charge of the engine, I allow the guys, right? We have fire attack going to the fire. I'm going to be with him. We're rolling up. That guy who's on the tail whip, he can work from the door all the way to the fire and back and forth. And then he always has a hook with him. And that way, along the way, he can extend his search with the hook. He can hook the hook to the hose line. The hook's 6 foot long. He's got a 6 foot wingspan. He gets 12 feet in each room, right? Most bedrooms are 10 by 10, 10 by 12. He can almost search the whole rooms. Now, that's a link to the hose line. I don't want him to go to the other side of the room because I don't want to be searching for firefighters. I want to be able – that's our fusible link, right? So I beat that to death with the guys so that when I go down a hose line, I don't want to be searching for you. Like, we're going to have a bad day. And I don't get mad about much. Maybe I do sometimes.
I like that.
And then I'm going to –
go ahead.
Fusible link, right?
Yeah. I like that a lot. I like that analogy. Fred Gillespie adds, I find you can get a lot of information from people on scene. Neighbors or residents can give you great information about where or who may be inside and where you might find them, which is solid. Do you prioritize the standbys if you can?
Prioritize what?
The standby people, basically bystanders.
So, yeah, but I also take it with a grain of salt. You hear too many times, like grandma says, no one's home. And she forgot she was babysitting. I mean, that's a horrible analogy, but it's out there, right? And then when you start saying that stuff on the radio, everybody's out. What happens to the momentum and tempo of the fire round? It goes down. So we want to keep the guys not running at a crazy pace, but there are certain things like abandoned house, vacant house. That really set the tempo, and fires don't just happen from nowhere, right? Somebody started that thing, especially when we go into the winter months. Right. It's getting the fire season, and when that vacant work can really hurt things.
No, it definitely lowers the
use their words.
Right. No, absolutely. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good, man. Cut me off anytime.
No.
I speak a lot, so you can shut me down. Um, Now, like the other night, I had a lady. She was like, "I have two dogs in that bedroom right there." She was pretty coherent, a little bit upset, but she was like, "Can like?" I'm like, "Oh, we'll get your dogs," and we went in there, grabbed the first dog, and Russell Ramirez, who chimed in earlier, I was a little mad at him because he was taking too long to get the second dog. And then he told me, "Hey, this one's a pit bull. He's biting the York hooks." So we got him out, but we just opened the back door and got him out that way.
Nice. But both dogs good?
That's where the scrap picture came from. That was
with the hair.
Halloween night.
I got you.
I brought in the wig for that night just to have fun with the guys.
It was officially the longest haired picture on scrap out of 62 scraps. The longest haired picture. So you have.
And this is the first time you talked about search, right?
I think it is. I mean, specifically to dig into search. It's come up at different times. Sean Duffy talked a little bit about search and survivability profiling, but absolutely, the first time it's been the only topic. So I want to talk about going beyond the door on VES. Your thoughts on it, how far you go, what you think about it, etc.
Yeah, so this is a personal comments on it too, because I'm going to get daggers for it. But I when I talk to people about VES, they can state the ways and it's kind of nationwide. You'll have guys say they take the window and then they close the door and then they isolate themselves or whatever they do. It's VES, right? And then they search the room. Guy at the door at the window has a tick, right? So can we push past that? So my big deal is, yes, we can push past it, just so long as it doesn't become a primary search for the whole house, right? Like I would look at it. I look at it like this: if I have a couple bedrooms on this side, then I'm gonna VES and I'll hit those bedrooms on the side. But if I'm gonna go in the kitchen, I'm gonna go in the living room, I'm gonna go all the way. I might as well just enter through the front door.
Right.
Does that kind of make sense?
No, absolutely. And it's a judgment call, and it's kind of like what you were saying earlier. There's so many variables coming into it. You have to make what's most
I'll push
important.
past it.
Yeah. I walk on you.
And what's your best vantage point, right?
Right. No,
what's your best vantage point to get into the house? VES is also an opportunity-based search. That's how I like to put it, right? What opportunities is it? Again, back to that other guy's question, my mother or my kid is in that room. Right. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to take that information. Yeah, I'm going right to that window, obviously. There's 9 windows on this house, and 8 of them have fire.
Right.
Blowing out of everywhere in the attic. Okay, VES, it's an opportunity.
Right.
But it can become in lieu of primary search based off the normal ingress egress. People are creatures of habit. Attack the normal ingress egress and you'll be successful. You're going to find people there.
Love it.
It's gotta be, you gotta think about it like that. You leave your house the same way every time, right? Your wife does. Everybody does. Follow that. Think about it,
I love that. Prioritize the ingress, egress, and you recognize that VES is the opportunity. And I'm not downplaying VES at all, but it is one of those hot things to train on. You know what I'm saying?
Because it's easy to train on, right?
Yeah, it's easier than a lot of things. So there's no doubt about that. Justin Shook has chimed in and said, "I only worked with Mike for a year, but I learned more in that 1 year from that feral animal than I did my previous 6. So some praise coming at you.
Shook's a great firefighter, man. And he's a driver now, and he's just one of those guys, and didn't give himself enough credit, but he was a hell of a fireman with us. And it was when I went to 18's A shift. Now I just promoted to driver, so it was a challenge to figure out what driver Mike was going to be like. They called me Driver Mike. Are you still with me?
Yep. I don't know if we got a
so okay. Because he had to change a little bit, and But they're really good dudes. And there's a story from Christmas. No, I shouldn't have said Christmas first, but it was Matt Vanoy's first shift, and he was chomping the bit to get the 18s, and I'm in charge of the engine. And I said, Matty, what do you want to do? It's pouring rain, and he said, I want to go pull hose. So we go to this crappy apartment complex that we had burned down, and people are still living in, but like they never fixed the fire, so like they just didn't live with a fire. We're pulling hose and a ladder comes, and we're but on the way there, one of the fire, I guess we don't get a say. I was like, yeah, you can go home. But the funny part of the story is guys, they'll tell that at the bar, and they remind me that it was Christmas Day.
Wow, no doubt, dude. I can only imagine the flack catch.
But I mean, to be all honest, we still play at the station too. I really like, second generation. Hopefully my son becomes third generation someday. But we all just have a hyper care for the job, and the guys I surround myself with just love the job. And that's important, man. It's not just a job. It's not about your retirement. No one cares. No one cares how much your drop was. They don't know. They don't care. I don't care how much you're going to get. I don't give a shit.
Nice.
Sorry. Soapbox.
And then, yeah, when you say that, there's definitely some checked in when you're saying it was pouring rain, it was Christmas, and you're out there stretching hose at a burnt down apartment complex. That shows a little bit of a commitment to the job. Houses, hoses, and hallways. All right, so I'm going to switch gears on you here. I mean, if you got more stuff to say, don't be afraid to jump down a rabbit hole. That's what makes the scrap so fun, is there's no plan. But the peacetime versus wartime deal that you sent me today, dude, I loved reading that. Go ahead and talk about that. I want to delve into that class proposal. It was just beautiful, man. I loved it.
Yeah, so I'm a terrible writer, so I wrote some stuff on paper, and then I sent it to my friend Sammy Hiddle, who's if you don't know Sammy, he's a genius. So he took it and just did his Sammy work to it, and just to help me out with it, and it really put in perspective when he put peacetime, wartime, and it goes back to the Marine Corps mantra: the more we sweat in peace, the less we bleed in war.
Nice.
Right. And I'm not equating firefighting to war. I don't think it's the most unsafe thing ever. I'm not a fisherman in Alaska.
Right.
All right. And how do I become safe? I train on things.
Love
I
it.
think about things. I work on things. Stop telling people that this is so unsafe. I want everybody to go home. No shit, Sherlock. So do I. So does everybody. Right. And there's no greater cause, right, to get everybody to go home. But they're also waiting for us to come get them. So let's go get them.
Preach
right?
it.
Let's stop with the nonsense, right? The nonsense has got to stop. And the cowards out there have got to stop. They got to stop attacking the firefighters. The firefighters, you gotta get it. You gotta go get it. And when we let weakness just keep permeating the fire service, it's just going to be a suck on us, man. And we got to stop letting weakness just permeate us, because they suck on the life of the young guys. And then they beat them down, and they don't want to push the pace, push to be the best and find the best crews. And we at 14s and at 18s and at 8s where I work, we call it one brain mentality.
Okay.
Right. Our one brain mentality means that you can sink Mike Heeney, but not with 7 of my bros watching. Like we're on the fire ground. I fall down. There's 7 other bros that are watching the steps. So we it takes a lot to sink 8 of us. It takes a lot. And then we start working with crews around it. That's that one brain mentality that if you don't got it, you're going to lose. You start singular. You start being, I'm the smartest guy in the room. Man, you're for rude. You better be really smart, because I ain't that smart.
I understand. Love
I don't
that.
know what that word means. My wife said synergy, but I don't really know what that word means.
Awesome, man. I love and that,
That
to
was
me,
a rabbit hole again. I'm sorry, man. I go down these rabbit holes.
there's no
Just like
apologies.
priorities. I mean, they're all over the place.
The whole thing with the scrap is we get to say squirrel and then just go and chase it, and so it's all
Yeah,
good. Uh,
yeah. Let's do it.
but
Let's just keep swirling down these roads.
peacetime versus wartime. A lot of it is just the training ground success equates to fire ground success, right?
Exactly.
Love that, man.
Yep.
Dude, I love that so much.
So passionate about that. And when you go to, like, when I met with you guys, man, it was it was awesome because the brotherhood, for one. I mean, I was in the Marine Corps a while. They gave heart, saw OKC's training division, and saw you guys and heard you speak. And Brian, when Brian spoke about we got to stop saying what we lost at a fire. Like,
Right. Dude, that was a gut punch.
this house is worth 200,000. That
Yeah.
was awesome. He said the house is worth 200,000, and we held the damages to 20,000. That's the wrong way of putting it. We saved $180,000 with the house today, boys.
Right.
Good job. Or job. I don't say job. I don't say good job. It's another thing at the fire service. In our station, we say job because we just did the job. We didn't. I started. This actually started with my son. He started working in the metal shop, my captain shop, and with me. And one of the days he's working there, I said, "Job, boy," and he's like, "Yeah." I said, "I tell you, good job, but you just made my life a little easier today. You finally did that. Like, that's a job. Good job."
Right
But
on.
we say it too much. Like, come on, man. We're not 3-year-olds. We don't need to be pampered. We just do the job, right? And take some criticism. Like, bust each other's balls a little bit. It's okay.
Love that.
But peacetime, wartime, like you're saying, it's a fight for that. You gotta prepare for these things. I mean, how many rounds you think I put down to M16, and I wasn't even a grunt in the Marine Corps,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that, man. Under that, and I'm just picking on a couple things I picked out of that, but under the methodology that you said, it said you touch on two main components, which was trust and competence, the dual process theory. Dude, those two things you say, trust and competence, man, I love that idea of that's how you teach.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be your mantra always. Is you got to be confident in yourself to make things happen. If you're not, you can't second guess yourself in the fire ground. You can reflect on things and make sure you do them better next time, but you can't lack confidence. You got to get after it. And that trust, especially in your guys, that they're going to pick you up. I mean, again, that's that one brain mentality. If you're going to fail if you don't have teammates, man. Right. Teammates go a long way, and people want to be a part of that winning team. And if you're at a department and they don't have a winning team, then go somewhere else. If you're at a station in Austin or anywhere and they're not a winning team, there's a lot of winning teams. Go find that winning team. And I'm not talking about the best officer in the city. Go look at the best firefighters in the city. Go try and be them. We always put a lot of onus on rank. Rank's good, but it's not. The tailboard is where it's at.
Right on.
I guess I gave away one of the final questions.
I know I might have some insight into the question 3, but we'll see. I always like, and I'm gonna. I've been asking this question. I almost need to move it, but it's not the point. Is like you've been doing this for a while, 15 years at Austin. But anything you've learned in the last decade and a half, that if you went back in time and told young Mike Heeney that this is what you would believe when you were this age, is there anything you've learned in the last decade and a half that young Mike Heeney would have been like, no way, I'll never believe that?
That I've done, or what do you mean?
Just in general, man, something that's just different. That 20-year-old Mike would have never believed.
Man, I always, getting out of. I've just been so blessed that I grew up in the job that I knew exactly what I was getting into. That every day is just like, it's a blessing, and you're just like, man. Like last night, we made a pin in today we made a fire, and things just like just watching it, you could just pinch me. I mean, it's just the way it is. I don't think I'm surprised that I'm in this job, because I've been wanting to be a fireman since I was like 3 years old. I used to get my dad's pull-up boots and long coat and drag it around the house. So when I was in high school, he'd pick me up from wrestling or football practice and drive me home once in a while as like a treat, because didn't really want to do anything nice for me. And he'd catch work, and I'd watch him just because he investigated for his last 10 years.
Gotcha.
Or so.
Awesome.
So he picked me up in the FMO truck, and then I guess I shouldn't say that because I don't think he was allowed to do it, but we go to fires together.
Nice. Very nice.
Did I dodge your question, or did I kind of answer it?
No, you can. You kind of answered it. It's good. It's good. I always like to ask this. Do you have a book or books that you think firefighters should read?
Yeah, I'll even reference it. I wrote it down, but it's Whiskey to Foxtrot. It's a story of Lynn M. Black. He's codenamed Blackjack, and he's Special Forces Army in Vietnam. And it really pushes the limits of what we consider what people can go through. I mean, the guy was shot up who knows how many times behind enemy lines. He coins the term. You know, their stories are starting to come out because they were secret missions behind. He never even fought in South Vietnam. He fought in North Vietnam, Laos, and all these places. And his story is incredible. He's just saved so many lives, and the brotherhood they had with the Vietnamese. They didn't even speak the same language and they're fighting against the North Vietnamese. It's just incredible stories, and it makes you realize that you just need to keep pushing, because you can't. There's no limit to what you can do. Right? You just gotta just keep working. That's the only answer. Sweat and tears, right?
Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, and the author was Black.
That's Lynn M. Black.
Lynn, okay.
Yeah, because there's a couple of Whiskey Tango Foxtrots, so it's Lynn M. Black, and his code name was Blackjack.
Blackjack, okay.
But if you're also just to get your appetite wet for it, look at him up on Jocko podcast.
Okay, so who's on
him
Jocko?
And John Stryker Meyer.
Okay.
Yeah, John Stryker Meyer, him and the Frenchman. Yeah.
Awesome.
My wife's telling me something, but I couldn't hear because I got earbuds in.
Awesome. Quiz Brainer, you got time for another question?
Oh yeah, I'm here till when you're done. I'll talk fire all night.
Okay. I've got one to throw at you here.
Midnight at the station.
Chris Wainwright chimed in and said, Mike, we took your special service class at Wichita Hot 2019, learned a ton with your garden apartment search approach. Would love to hear your approach to high-rise hallway search. How many doors do you pass before you force for area of refuge?
Man, that's a really detailed question, and it's really based on conditions, right? But what I will tell you is learning something from Grab's podcast. We always think about jumping in the floor below, making sure we get the layouts, and is it a commercial? I'm sorry, is it a high-rise residential or is it a high-rise hotel? Two very different things, right? So when we search a high-rise hotel, I might send one guy to each side of the hallway as we bang down rooms, right? Because a hotel room could be half the size of a residential, right? But then you start getting the residential high rises. You might have one that's 1,200 square feet. You might have one that's 1,900 square. You got to really start going back to your residential searches inside, based off of hallways. And we always base our searches off of hallways and hose lines. The oriented guy stays oriented the whole time. There is no deviation from that. And this is just my opinion on it. I'm not saying it's 100% fact. Why we do that is I'm going to send that guy into 3 different rooms. He's going to get spun around 6 different times. I got to be the person when if the conditions get worse to get them out.
Get them out.
So base your searches on high-rise residential or high-rise hotels based on the size of the room, stuff like that. Get the floor, go to the floor below, try and get a layout. If it's a first floor fire, take the time to jump to the floor above, right? Look at the floor above. It's going to take a lot of discipline, but you'll learn where the layout is. You'll also learn where the sprinkler shutoffs are, so you ain't getting blasted in the face with sprinkler wire,
Right?
Because we all know that can be a pain,
experience.
right? So there's just a lot to that question. How many doors? All that stuff is situational. What I will tell you is stretch from the floor below. Don't stretch from the fire floor, right? Because when conditions change, you're not anchored to an exit. If you're not stretching from the floor below, you're not anchored to an exit,
Nice.
and then you're not gonna. Does that make?
No, because I mean, they start getting into the protected stairwell, and you start stretching from the fire floor. You know, I'm hearing that more and more lately, and getting away from that floor.
Mid-span, FDCs, all that stuff. It's screaming at you. Please use me. This is awesome. Use me, but just stretch extra hose. You can make it to that mid-span without humping all that charge 2.5, but get the hose up there and then charge it or do whatever you got to do. And that's just, I'm not skirting the question. It's just a very detailed question.
No, it's
based on a lot of condition. So I'm trying to give some pointers in that realm, but not try and get down that rabbit hole.
100%. All right. We have a thing we do on the weekly scrap each and every week, and it is the 5 questions for firefighters. I've already figured out one of your answers, and that's always fun for me. But moving forward, are you ready, Mike Heeney, for the 5 questions for firefighters?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, here we go. Number 1 is, what is the number 1 issue facing the modern fire service?
This is going to be off. I'm trying to go away from the norms, right?
Okay.
So my number 1 issue facing this fire service is devaluing tools. Now, I'm not talking about the spanner wrench. I'm not talking about the axe. You can devalue all that you want, right? But it's devaluing what other firefighters or people bring to the scene, right? And you'll see it time and again. We don't need a ladder over here. We don't need it. The engine's going to do it. We don't need an extra engine. Let them come. They're going to learn something from the scene. We get devalued all the time as a rescue because people get pissed off because we steal work from them, whatever have you, right? No, we're not stealing work from you. We're going to work together, try and make things happen. But it's easy for men to devalue tools. They take it, they see a tool, they see it as a something that's going to hinder their success or their recognition, and they just devalue it. They say they don't need it. They've tried to, try and get that through people's head that you got to value each other and then work together, and then you'll have that one brain. I don't devalue any tool I bring to the scene. Guys on the truck, on our rigs, they're 100% valuable, and we're only successful as a team. And devaluing tools just drags that down and makes us weak. It's a sign of weakness to devalue tools. If you have a guy on your crew that's doing it, tell him to stop. Anything from, like, if I don't know how to run a backhoe, guess what I should do? Run a backhoe.
Right on.
Right?
Right on.
My captain, when I started working in his shop, he handed me the keys to a Bobcat. I was like, I never drove a Bobcat before. He's like, well, just learn how to drive a Bobcat. And I'm like, all right, I'll do that then.
That's awesome.
So again, it goes back to the let's do that, right?
Right. Bringing it full circle. I like the answer. I do like the answer. Devaluing tools. Number 2, what is the thing you are most excited about for the future of firefighting?
Well, let me ask you what you think about that real quick. The devaluing tools, like, do you see it in your department? Do you see, like, guys trying to make themselves look more important by devaluing other men? Because I see it a lot.
Ego plays a huge part in what you were saying. In people with who let their egos get in the way have a knack for validating themselves by dismissing others. They can inflate their own sense of importance. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's just I kind of wanted to hear what like if this is a nationwide thing. You think it's cold? Like it's just happening more and more because we're just, we're kind of weaker men than we used to be back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I don't know.
How do we fix it? I mean, how do we fix that problem, Chief?
If you can, I would say this right off the get go. If you can figure out how to fix the ego problem, then me and you can write that book and we can be millionaires. 100%. Because I just didn't want to graze over that. I think no, not at all.
And I think huge problem, man.
We go back to Marcus Aurelius. We can go to Napoleon Bonaparte, and I think he was probably sitting around with his lieutenants discussing this exact same question, saying, how do we fix this flaw in human nature that seems to keep cropping up over and over and over again? And I think one thing is great discussions like this about it.
Yeah, I go teach with like Seth Taylor, and I'm not even going to speak to a Saul like that dude. He's a Saul, like he's a whisperer, right? So am I gonna devalue that because I'm afraid of that? No, I'm gonna embrace that, and that dude's gonna be on my team.
Dude, 100%.
I want to win. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're an asshole. Like I'm an asshole. I've been called that before. Like you're not hurting my feelings. Like just step out of the way.
Now, you're one of the first people that's like, let's deep dive on this question 1, and we're going to keep staying on it for a minute, which is fine. I love rabbit holes, and I don't mind at all. But one of these things that I've been infatuated with lately is the idea of being right versus being effective. Which one is more important, being right or being effective? And you got to separate doing the right thing from being right, because you can do the right thing, but that's always going to be the right thing, but the part about being right is about your ego. It's about, I need to have that person be wrong. I need to be right, and that person needs to be wrong because I know it, and it goes back to that one brain, 100% back to that one brain. When you get guys on the same page, it's not about being right. It's about being effective.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of like being married. I mean, I've been married 19 years and I'm wrong all the time, which just makes things easier, right? Like, I don't, I'm gonna stand on a lot of hills too, but
right.
It takes everybody too, like even BCs that have your back. Like
that's huge.
It's huge, man. And it's like guys start attacking you and whatever else and attacking your crew, and like you're out of your mind. Like leave my dudes alone, man.
Right on.
They ain't your guys.
Yeah.
We got some of them guys, and there's some other weak guys that want to devalue tools. So let's attack them dudes.
When a battalion chief will go to the mat for you, man, you'll charge the gates of hell for him. So
yeah, and when we met, I'm like, man, that's a dude I'd want to work for because I could just tell you got that passion. And when your guys were at training, right, they're there on a Saturday. And then Mike Walker comes up. Is he the AC of operations?
He's the chief of operations.
He's number 2,
right,
at Oklahoma City, right. And what's he doing on a Saturday?
Yeah,
he's at the training ground watching his guys. He knows his truck drivers as on a first name basis. He's with the guys, man.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
No, massively respected.
Massively respected. And the first time I heard him was Wichita Hop, which I'll give a shout out to Wichita Hop because I think it's for bang for your buck. It's one of the best conferences around.
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
And then you got to get down here to work conference because that's what we put down here in Austin. It's changing the game. It's pretty good. Pretty good time.
No, absolutely. Scott Thompson said, got to see peacetime, wartime in Wichita. It's a great message. Eventually people will get humbled. That's a good point. So, sorry, I was catching up a little bit on some of these, but I'll get back to the 5 questions because we kind of did go rabbit holing on that one, which is great. I loved it.
Sorry about that.
No, not at all, man. That's what it's for. Where was I at? Number 2?
Number 2.
All right. The thing you are most excited about for the future of firefighting.
To me, it's training tempo, man. I definitely tell you when I come on a job, like we used to have a saying in the Austin Fire Department, and I'll throw my department under the bus, but whatever. We call it holiday mode. I'm like, holiday mode. I worked for I've been 15 years in Austin, but I worked 3 departments before that. 1 station department, 5 station departments, whatever. But I got here and they're like, we're in holiday mode. I'm like, holiday mode? They're like, yeah, it runs from a week before Thanksgiving past Christmas, past New Year's.
Okay.
And I was like, what does that mean? They're like, we just chill. Like,
Okay.
if it ain't a call, we don't move. I'm like, oh, all right, all right, okay, that's what we do. This is a decent amount of years ago, but
Sure.
that's kind of gone to the wayside, right? Like we don't need to do that. And so the training tempo has really gotten better through the years, especially in my department. Talking to Chief Pomeroy the other day, he's the B shift chief at Spec Ops, awesome guy. He was talking about how the other day he had so many crews that wanted to train. He had to stagger them. He had to have companies calling each other and staggering them.
Awesome problem.
He's like, yes. We just can't have this many up. He's like, that's a great problem. Like yes. I love that, and that's where we're at. We're actually we're on the right path, and there's no amount of training that can beat going to fires.
Right.
But it's definitely important that we train too.
No, and that, like you said, man, there's chiefs across this country that would kill to have that problem, man. So training tempo. I like that answer. I like that answer a lot. Number 3, this is the one I kind of have a clue on already, but what is the best rank or position to be in the fire service?
It's firefighter. It's 100%. No one joined this job to move magnets on a board or to set up to be the training officer or do whatever. You join this job to take a nozzle in the front door of a fire and bang ass to the back of it and put a fire out. So don't forget where you came from, right? And firefighter, the reason it's the most important rank and the most crucial rank, especially on my job, because we've grown a lot. So we're having less tenured firefighters promoting. Everything you do in the front seat, everything is based off what you learn in the back. If you have no basis, you will not succeed. You might if you get a good crew in front of you, but man, you are going to have a hard path if you don't learn the job. You got to learn from the bros. You got to surround yourself with heavy hitters. You got to go to the best stations, not even only with the best officers, find the best firefighters around to learn from. That's how you get better at the job, and that's how you make good decisions in the front, right? Nice. It's just important.
Dude, I love that, and the fact the way you said that, everything you're going to do in the front seat is going to be determined by how you were in the back seat, what you learned in the back seat. Dude, that's solid right there. So I might be the first.
I don't even think.
I'm going to give you max points on the best position. This is the first time ever that it was not given to company officer. So that's a record set by Mike Heeney on the
62.
Yeah,
62.
Only because firefighter never gets max points. But that articulation was so nice.
Oh, so, nice. Yeah, I just and there's just the responsibility level of a tailboard. Holy mackerel, it's so low. You just go fuck shit up.
Yeah, kick indoors.
You're just grabbing babies. They used to say, man, I didn't have a choker chain long enough for him. I'm like, hey man, speed up.
Right on.
Here we go.
I don't know if you've seen Mark Von Oppen do his presentation on Fully Involved, but he's got a video. I don't know where he got it, where they catch a call and the 2 firefighters in back of these Doberman pinchers just snarling and spitting and slinging saliva while they're driving to the call. They're just ready to go.
That's great.
It's a perfect example of what you're talking about.
It is.
Moving on to the question number 4. Best advice you have ever received?
There's 2. I got to break it down into 2.
Okay.
But one's easy, right? Is if your guys know something, they get the kudos. That makes sense. They get all the kudos if they do a job on the fire ground, or you ask them to teach class on this and they got it lined out. They get all the kudos, right?
They get all the credit. I get it.
They get all the credit.
Okay.
But if the guys on the back of my truck don't know something that I know, then I get all the blame.
Dude, I love it.
It was really beat into me as a young firefighter. Like I asked a couple times, like, why doesn't this firefighter know that? They didn't say anything to the firefighter, and that was in the Matt Rush and JR, all those guys. They put pressure on us as senior tailboards when we were riding up, but not riding up, but we're riding in that position to as the OV or whatever. To if they don't understand it, it's your fault. It's not my fault. You know it, so why don't they know it?
Right.
That's important, man. Really important.
Dude, I love it. So give that credit and take that blame.
And then the last thing is have that hard conversation. If you get to a point and a guy's just not willing to put forth the effort, doesn't have the mental or physical. Stop saying physical is not important, because I'm 41 years old, and if I push myself to the limits every day to be physically strong, because it matters on the fire ground. They don't have the mental or physical capabilities of doing the job, and they're not a right fit for your crew. You need to have the hard conversation and get rid of them.
Damn.
And it's not punting somebody down the road. It's maybe open their eyes that they're just not, that they need to fix things.
I like it.
And then,
I like it 100%.
Yeah, and then my wife said, and open the door for somebody better. And like, we're not, I'm looking for, we got 10 dudes assigned in my station. I'm looking for 10 dudes that are going to push me every day I go to work. I'm not looking to work with anybody who's not going to push me, because then my game's going down.
Right on.
My guard's going down. My game's going down. I'm not looking for weak people, man. It's not my style.
I cannot doubt your passion, and I'm pretty sure every comment on here has verified these people that know you. Tyson Poindexter, do you know him?
Oh, it's my next door neighbor. We've been together forever.
Ask Mike how much he bench presses. Tyson asked.
Well, I wasn't up to snuff yesterday.
Fair enough.
The max I've got is 380.
Nice.
But Tyson beats me every time. I make him go first because he pushes it. Tyson's 405 all day, every day.
All day, every day. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
But it's gotta happen, man. You gotta get in the gym.
He's definitely a guy that's pushing you. There's no doubt about it.
We do jiu-jitsu at the station too.
That is awesome.
Well, not during COVID, but
when you're allowed, right?
But we train, we do jiu-jitsu, we eat together, we sleep together. Separate bunk rooms are a terrible idea. So whatever chiefs want these separate bunk rooms are a terrible idea.
Say it louder for every chief in the back.
Please, you guys, you're not asking firefighters what they want out of their stations. They don't need Taj Mahals. Just give us a bay that fits the apparatus, for one, and then just give us. I've been in trailers and
in your truck?
Yes. What is she doing?
I don't know.
That was my wife. I'm sorry, but you know what I'm saying. Like, they're taking these old nostalgic fire stations, trying to find ways to put climate controlled so we get better REM sleep. REM sleep? I'll tell you how to get better REM sleep. Work all day. Be fucking tired. I'm tired as fuck when I go to bed usually. I don't understand it. Like, you work out, you run 10, 12 calls, you do this, you do that, you train, you're going to go to bed. And then we're going to talk fire, and we pull videos up on the screen. We do video. We do all kinds of stuff just getting ready. And then we make a fire, man. It's like, oh yeah, we had a bunch of dress rehearsals and we're going to work. That's what's all about, man. And okie doking yourself. Jesus Christ. Like, oh, better luck next time. Really? With somebody's house? No. And we attacked that. And time and time again, we had crews that get mad because they get lapped, and it's like, dude, you didn't get in the gym, you didn't do anything. You don't even drink beer on your days off.
Didn't put in the reps, and you're wondering what happened.
Yeah, man, this isn't our first rodeo. we're putting in the 1,000, the one to get the 10,000, and trying to be there, right? So I get way rabbit hole there. Sorry
Dude,
about that.
this might be the most rabbit holed 5 questions of all time. So we're setting a lot
I
of
love
records
it,
today.
though.
So we're going. The final question: heavy fire and searchable space. Would you rather? Anyway, I'll let it go. Be assigned to the nozzle or first in VES.
Man, I can't put the picture in my head, but I can tell you right now that I've never forgot that the most fun position on a fire. And if you're ever looking for me at a fire, just look for where the fun is, and you're gonna find me.
Okay.
Is on the nozzle at a fire, and I think because you're also gonna do the most for people. Like you're gonna put the fire out, which makes everything go better. And then, like I said earlier, the guys on the tail on running up the hose line, they're searching. So I think it gives us the best opportunity to also make the search and make the grab to get people out. So, and there is no good truckies that weren't good nozzling. If you weren't a good nozzleman, you weren't a good truckie.
I'm going to have to put that down.
Yeah, like you just don't start riding the truck like, oh, it's got to be a goal. It's got to be a goal to ride the rescue and even like driving at my station, if you're not competent enough to run a search, because a lot of times our captains get pulled to be inside division, and that's a role like that like grabs, is water supply going on, is fire attack going on, all these things going on. So they're like inside of it, like they're running everything. So I run the search a lot of times, not saying all the time. So a guy that's going to ride in my seat when I'm off, he's got to be able to run that search. That's our parameter. That's because we think it's one of the toughest jobs on the fire ground. Like cutting a hole in the roof. I like cutting holes in the roof. I'm just saying, it's not like it's the hardest thing in the world to take a chainsaw, go to a roof, and cut a square. Right?
Gotcha. Right on. Dude, I love it. That's the five.
Nozzle fireman.
No, it's the 5. And that's the best thing about the 5 questions, man, is you never know what you're going to get. And that's what makes it so much fun. And I was actually surprised by you saying nozzle, because I expect a truckie to always take the search option. So.
Yeah.
But no, complete surprise. I love it. Max points as the 5 questions for firefighters, according to Mike Heeney. Right there. The best place to contact you, book a class. If people want to get that peacetime versus wartime, get information, get in touch with you, learn about search, learn about saws, how do they get a hold of you? What do they do?
You can email me at mikeheeney@att.net. Face page, Instagrams, whatever. I'm on both of them. I don't really know how to use Instagram that well. I know that's ridiculous, but whatever. Facebook's probably a message is probably a good way. I mean, that's pretty much the easiest way to get a hold of me.
That is awesome.
As far, I'd like to give some shout outs, some tools real quick.
Go.
I work Chris Morin, so I gotta give some love to the piglet. I'm a pig guy. It's 8 pounds, right? Whatever. But I just got sent the Lockwood hook from John Lockwood. It's good. It's really good prying tool. It's it is what it is. It's a thicker wall tool, so it's a little heavier, but it's a good tool. Really good on the prying side of things, though. We had it at a class on Saturday, and I was just teaching guys how to do overhaul, like pulling trim and different things, and it just obliterates it.
Killed it on that. That's
now.
nice.
Now with the shiplap, man, you got to give the boy Casey Towery from Dallas, the Dallas hook a try. G2 Tools. Have you messed with him at all?
Not at all yet. No, I'm learning a lot of stuff right here.
Casey is he's a truck guy down in South Dallas, and he has a G2 tool, and it is a spade looking hook, but it's on a slide hammer. So you put the spade in line with the ribs of the wood, whatever you will call it. Right. So in line with the grain of the wood, and then you strike. Once you get it stuck, it's a slide hammer. Bang, 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 and it pops through the shiplap. You twist it, and it makes it looks like it looks like a tent. It makes it go crossways, and then you start pulling down that slide hammer, bang, bang, and it just pops it out. It's for an initial purchase point, it's really good. I know we just sweep the ceilings, find a light bulb, rip through there, but the G2 tool will get you a purchase where you can't get it. You know what I mean?
Dude, I'm seeing a whole scrap right here. Like, we just need to have you on to talk about different tools that firefighters should be checking out. I'm serious. I'm being that serious. I'm gonna have you back on. I'm just gonna put up a picture of a tool, and we'll talk about the strengths and weaknesses of it. Man, tools.
I love tools, man.
What I want to know is
don't devalue our tools, right?
there it is, man. We're full circle. Awesome, man. There's so many comments and questions from people. That's the problem, and this is a great problem to have, guys. So don't ever think I'm not there. I've been trying to figure out the best way to get the best questions that are coming through, but there's been like hundreds of comments tonight, so it's hard to throw them all at Mike. So thank you guys for everything, Mike. You're getting a ton of love from people, and a lot of good job, Mike. Hose Monkeys for the win. Good job. Someone said truckies are the engine company's helpers. But that kind of stuff. So, good stuff. I want to say, unbelievably fun guest tonight, man. It was a lot of fun, a lot of good talking. We really did chase down some rabbit holes.
Yeah, that's my MO, man. We stay up till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning talking about fire a lot, man. It's what we do.
Well, and the crazy part is, I feel like we really just kind of scratched the surface so far. I think there's a lot more we could talk about, including the tool stuff. I love the book you suggested. I hadn't heard that before. So all that is good stuff. I'm going to tell you that next week, we got a 1 week break from the scrap. So next Monday on the 14th, Bobby Halton is coming on to talk. And then 3 days after that, on the 17th, Chief Scott Thompson's coming on. We're talking about the Marine Corps' book, is it DCMP 7? No, I might get the letters wrong. I'm sorry if I did. I don't have it right here. But, and then Jim Moss coming up. Walter Lewis is coming up. David Heeney-Jones is coming up. We got a ton coming up, so the scrap is exciting. Tonight, Mike Heeney, Weekly Scrap number 62. Unbelievably great guest. Thank you, everybody, for the questions and comments. Thank you, Mike, for being an awesome and fun guest. Someone yelled, Mike, take your shirt off. Sorry, people, this is a family show. Just kidding, it's not. But thank you, guys. I hope the tone stays silent unless it is burning. Thank you, Mike, for being awesome.
All right, brother.